and welcome to Zwift Live. This is the weekly community show that we put on for community racing. I'm Nathan Guerra, your host, and this week we've got the Zwift Racing League race number 2. The Zwift Racing League is open now for round number 1. Started up on September 10th and it's going through October 15th, 2024. Round 2 team registration is open now, so head on over to wtrl.racing/Zwift Racing League and you can get involved in round number 2. If you want to get involved with the team though, right now you still can. Head on over to WTRL and you can find a team to join up for this round still, but team registration for this round is closed. I do have with me the co-host with the most as usual. It is going to be Mr. Dave Toll. Good to see you, Dave.
Hey, great to see you too, Nathan. It's going to be a great day of racing.
Good day of racing out here today for sure. It is a points race out there today. We're going to have 4 sprint points. Let's go ahead and take a look at the course. Course is going to be Sugar Cookie. 1 lap, 39.2 kilometers for race number 2. Now, they are going to be descending down that jungle loop, but they're not going to do the whole loop. Then they're going to head on over to that new coastal area, Dave, for 4 new sprints we've never seen before in the ZRL.
Yeah, they've really revamped the point system, and I love it. So a lot more focus on first across the line out here. 3 of the 4 point scoring opportunities that happen out in the first part of this really is a tale of 2 different races, because all these points are going to be distributed through the FAL and the 1 FTS at Acropolis. That's the second point scoring opportunity out there. But then when we get down to business, Nathan, it's fair to say the sting is in the tail. Almost all of the climbing happens in the last third of this race. And the points, massive tally here. In this new point structure, you take the number of starters and the winner gets that number of points, and then in a linear order, we descend down. So a lot of points will be waiting at the finish line. This is a day where a strong team should really make hay when it's in the field, go for some of these FTS and FAL points, and again, more FAL this year, or this season, I should say. And then I would save up a designated couple of riders and see what they can do in the finale for you here. That might be the best way to distribute the workload amongst your team. And ZRL, it's all about team.
All about team. Well, 4 sprint points up front. And then, Dave, that climb there, I mean, it's a tough climb up to the bridge. I mean, you got Titans Grove, the initial, but then that bridge climb about quarter way of the Watopia Mountain, then you take that cliffside over. It's going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of the climbers are going to be saving up a little bit and going for that finish line. Now, we are covering the women's race out here today, so it will be the 10 after women's race for the Zwift Racing League Women's EMEA East Western Division 1, and we'll be in with the A's. We did have a little bit of chat, though, with Becca Niesen to talk about the Femmes Cycle collab and what's up with women's racing out on Zwift. Well, great to have on the show today Becca Niesen from the Femmes Cycle collab. Wanted to have you on the show to hear a little bit about your story and how you got involved in Zwift.
So I started out as a rower in middle school, and I rode all the way through college. So it was nearly a decade of my life in a sport that if you didn't show up, everyone had to sit out or didn't get to row. When I got into racing in Zwift, I started racing in 2022. I felt the same way about racing. I just wanted everyone to show up.
What is the mission of Femmes Cycle collab?
Femmes Cycle Collab's looking to enable and uplift women on Zwift. So we believe that we can do that by offering races that women find accessible. They can easily find them. They can easily enter them. They can communicate with other women during the races. We want everyone to want to race. We want women to feel comfortable. We want to destigmatize the process of racing. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% all the time, every day. And we want them to see that racing can be just like practice. Racing can be something that is enjoyable, that you're building your race craft. You practice by racing. And so we just want to continue using everybody's skills to make women feel comfortable in it.
You're like, hey, we all got to be rowing together, but this time now it's all cycling together.
Just to continue the rowing theme for a minute, everybody works together to make the boat the fastest. So first Femmes Cycle collab, it's really about collecting women from different areas: women race organizers, women racers, women commentators, and really putting them together and seeing what we can build from everybody's strengths.
So what events and details are actually working out right now that fulfill your mission?
So we do have a full slate of races that we put under the FemCycle Collab club. So there's races every day. Every Wednesday, which I think is probably the most special part of this new rollout, there's a collaboration with a different race team. So some of the teams are women's only and some of them just have a big women's contingent. So the first one is this Wednesday. That's ESRT. And we're doing mini races with ESRT.
So how can people get involved and know more about what the FemCycle Collab is up to?
The first thing you can do is join the club. So on your companion app, just search for FemCycle Collab and join the team. It's only women, so only women can join the team. But if you're looking to support a partner or a friend, colleague, anybody that you know that's a woman, you could have them join the club. They could also join a women's team, which I think is a great way of stepping your toe into the scene. And those you can find on swiftinsider.com.
Really great to hear from Becca Niesen, as always. I know you had a little conversation with her recently, I believe, as well, Dave. I think it's a great leadership that is in the women's scene that's coming from that FCC.
Yeah, she's a really impressive woman, and the work she's doing is much needed. So continued good luck to them. And yeah, it's really vast when you look at the effect that they're having out there. So we'll get a good look at some of the women that have been really building this sport up for years out here today, Nathan. I saw that Louise Gamst, the Danish star, is in this field amongst many big names. It actually really is a who's who of ZRL racing that you found in this A race for our women out here today. 39K. It's going to be an hour of racing, or nearly that, before this one is done and dusted today. What I love about this one, Nathan, is you were just talking about the fact that you're going to want to save something for finale. Well, this finale is special. It's on a dirt road. The last 200 meters, you don't even see the finish banner until like 100 meters to go or so. We've never raced on this course before is in ZRL. So there's a lot of unknowns on how you race this with this new point structure as well. We are going into this one eyes wide open.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The idea of not seeing these sprints in succession like this, I do think that there may be some breaks that do happen, especially after that second FTS. Becca actually mentioned that in her dsing, that she was going to probably be pressing the pace for some breaks. We'll hear more from Becca in just a little bit, actually, about how she was dsing today. The ladies are getting out on course. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how they get going here, because they are going to be heading downhill immediately. It may be a little calmer than usual, I would think, though, Dave, because the reality that a lot of them know that the sting is going to be on the coast rather than this initial downhill. I'd be surprised if anybody really tries to make any serious moves early on.
Yeah, this course is part of the Southern expansion that happened back just about a year ago in fall of 2023. I'm wondering, do you designate a rider to go out and try to snatch some early points? Now, the FTS, the Sasquatch FTS, that's the second point scoring opportunity. Those points are not as robust as they used to be, Nathan. 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. Only 5 riders will score there. Whereas at our FALs, it's back to that standard 20 points for the first rider over the line, down to 1 point for the 20th. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to learn a lot about what happens at this first sprint out here. Good to see the Crush Pod team, Nathan. They've really leveled up. Joanne Ernst and company, Caroline Strasser as well, the German rider on that team. This is a squad to watch. BL13 is back. Of course, Aeonian is here. They've got Barbara Frisch racing today. She's one of the Argentinian riders that I'd be watching for. But everybody right now, I see Louise Gamst and Barbara Frisch right squarely in the middle of this. These are 2 names, Nathan, that we've been talking about for the last 5 years.
Yeah, Louise Gamst is definitely one to be watching out for a breakaway, I would think. She's definitely somebody who wants to try and make some moves out there today. So watch out for her. I would think Elise Gallegos is in here for the Wahoo team. Definitely also somebody who I think is most likely going to want to try and get a break later in the race. The fun thing about some of these races for some of these riders is if you're kind of jack of all trades, you can kind of play a little bit across the sprints and then save something for later on that climb.
Here's my prediction for today. Tiffany Penner, the Canadian here, Nathan, who was so good, really breaking through in the Zwift games. She, the Winnipeg Jet, it's fair to call her. And I would be looking for her to score top points at this first sprint out here.
Penner actually here. Wow, that's great to see. If we can see
I
her.
hope I'm right. I thought I
well,
saw her name on the. Let's confirm that.
Yeah,
Had a little bit of trouble with these names. Both the two you mentioned. As is Elise Gallegos actually in this race should be confirmed before we go too far down that trail.
Yeah, I believe that Elise is here. We'll go ahead and bring Elise up.
Another huge talent, no doubt.
Definitely.
If she's here, it's a game changer for the finale, and there she is. Good.
Yeah, Gallegos, it looks like settling in 138 beats per minute. I think this is going to be the story here. And there's Penner's name popping up with a verified badge. She's definitely in the race as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. You know, Gallegos versus Penner, I think, is an interesting conversation out here today.
Yeah, and Penner recently changing teams, moving over to one of our all-time favorite squads. You know, you had a nice chance to talk with Carla Williams and get to know more about the Aeonian team. The Cryo RDT team made a huge pickup with the Canadian Penner moving over to that squad. Leonie Dijkstra in our field. Another rider who, just on paper here, Nathan, maybe coming back into her Zwift season after a lot of time outdoors, as she'll be building up her Zwift racing score. For sure. This is going to be such a competitive group. It really is an interesting start. 39K, the first 5K or so are almost a warm-up, I would say. A nice rider comparison here, Nathan.
Yeah, Penner versus Gallegos, I thought would be a good one. You know, the raw power coming in from Elise, but you can see where, you know, Penner's kind of a bullet. She's got that kick for almost 9 watts per kilogram at almost a comparable raw wattage, which tells you that, you know, she's coming in, going to be able to get tucked in a little bit more and come through with a little bit of a kick of speed. Whereas I think Gallegos, coming from that triathlon background, taller rider, I think too, she's going to be somebody who's going to have a good kick and just kind of like raw power through those sprints. But I think is going to be looking for maybe more of a threshold effort later on to break things apart. I think that's more of her favorite. You can also see maybe a little bit of fitness there coming from Gallegos at 144 beats per minute. The current watts per kilogram, pretty similar across the board.
Yeah, Gallegos getting ready for Ironman. She is a world-class triathlete as well, so she's definitely got that diesel engine as well as a little bit of high end. So definitely she is a Swiss Army knife of racers as you're looking at, though. I think Penner is the one. We can go back and look because there is some names here like Jen Lemon, Nathan. She's on the PDQ Watt Bombs team. She's going to be there for the finale today. No doubt about that. Out of the United Kingdom, watch out for Jen Lemon when push comes to shove for the finale here. But always, Nathan, looking at the teams here, Wahoo Esports, this is a squad that has proven their mettle time after time. This is a team sport. When you talk about ZRL, and here's somebody going to jump out in front of it. This looks
synergy,
like
synergy on the move. That's interesting to see. Doyle with Aroko, we haven't talked about these two teams too much. Look at the firepower coming from Northrop. This is a move, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting out in front of it. There's 20 points winning. It looks like Leonie Dijkstra is going to counter here. So the Dutch rider is going to try to come up and over the top. Here we go. Boy, they didn't take long to get after it out here. An absolute Donnybrook is what we're going to have for nearly an hour for our A women. And this is our first point scoring opportunity coming up pretty quickly here. This is going to be Stoneway, the sprint proper at 8.2K in.
Yeah, at 8.2K into this race is where we'll see that. We got a little ways to go on that one. But they will exit this section of the course in just a few minutes. And when they do, then they'll see that arch sprint. They got to go actually under the finish banner beforehand in just a little bit here.
Casey Northrop making her name out here. You can see the power differential, that delta pretty high right now between our two leaders. But Nathan, this really speaks to how hard it is to open up a gap in esports. As these women have got the accelerator down on the floor, we're good to see. So that's Roca Cordoba, that fantastic climb outside of Girona that has been part of Ashley Moolman's a few years of this team having such a strong presence in the world. I love that jersey. These two are committed to trying to snatch these points, Nathan, as they still, as you said, there's more than a couple of minutes of this of trying to hold off that field. And right now that field is really just giving them a little bit of leash, but it looks like they're even going to rein it back in.
Yeah, it looks like Gallegos actually is the one who's heading to the front of the pack now at this point. 6 watts per kilogram from Gallegos. Is she trying to go across and maybe put some effort into this? Is she just closing it down, or does she want to get involved? I mean, I would not be surprised. She is a rider, I think, who likes to create separation, but it's double Wahoo, actually, triple Wahoo, all shutting it down. Bam, look at this. I think it's just going to calm right on down now, Dave.
It's for that Scottish rider, Alison Kerr, Nathan, on that Wahoo team. I think they're trying to set her up now to try to snatch and build some confidence here, winning the first real sprint proper of this ZRL season. We started out with the team time trial last week, but you can see Wahoo Lacole's definitely setting things up. That was Elise being a great teammate there, in my opinion, Nathan, just trying to control the front end of this race is they're setting the table, I would think, for Kerr.
Yeah, it's a good call, actually. I think Kerr is definitely going to be one to be watching out for. And that early sprint, they're going to look most likely, I would think, to try and have different riders be involved for each sprint as best as they possibly can, right? They're going to say, this one's good for you, this one's good for you, this one's good for you, most likely, in order to set up their best sprinters. You know, there are riders, though, that can just take them all down, too. And Kerr, I wonder if she's one of those.
I would think she is, Nathan. She's on my short list. By the way, let's send a congratulations out. Zwift community rocks. And Katrin Nielsen, Nathan, you had a chance. I actually interviewed her as well. We do a lot of doubling up. But Katrin, I was speaking to her when she was in Italy getting ready for the Paralympic Games, ultimately riding to a 6th place there as the pilot of a blind tandem. So congratulations to Katrin for being part of the Paralympic movement. She's in this race, tucked nicely into this group. I'm going to watch out for her, and that she must have some tremendous fitness, Nathan, getting ready for Paris.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're going to have to find her out on course. Riding for Cryogen, there she is. We had her actually in for an interview as well when we were highlighting the Adassini series. There she is, the pilot, and recently at the Paralympic Games. Absolutely awesome to see her, and we'll see how the race goes for Katrin Nielsen today. Now they're setting up for sure for this next sprint, Dave. It's coming here pretty quickly. I think in about 1-2K at the most. And you can see that everything's calmed right on down. Now the dynamics have changed a lot. It's not so much about sitting at the back and rolling through. You definitely can sit back a little bit, but if you sit back too much, getting by those avatars can be very difficult to gain any time on everybody. So now it's only FAL. It's not FTS for this first one, right? So you probably won't see, you'll see more positioning on this one and not so much more about a fade sprint.
Very well said. And Nathan, your expertise is so valuable when you talk about that. If you start a little too far back, the effort is required to get past riders to get up into the sprint is going to just dull your sword. So you have to be sitting up in the top third, if not even closer to the front. As a matter of fact, you might as well take on some wind right now. At the speed that they're going, this is all about the sprint as we spread out from gutter to gutter right now. That peloton is wider than it is deep at this point, like the Mississippi River of pelotons. Gallegos maybe going to lead this out again. I think this is for her teammate Alison Kerr. I've highlighted Penner. There's going to be some Watt monsters ready to throw down. This is the first sprint of the season that we're heading into now, and it looks like everybody just champing at the bit right now.
Penner set up really well. Look at where she's at here, sitting in this third wheel or so. What's Penner going to be trying to set up for is going to be a big question. 5.2 watts per kilogram, fighting for position now. You might ask, why are they pushing so hard? Why are they pushing so hard? It is because of that new pack dynamics in the last year or so that says you have to fight for position. You can't just go straight through avatars. If somebody's putting out similar, look at this early attack though. Gallegos here now being bait, I think, for the other riders on her team.
Well, this absolutely now. So she's set the hook. Let's see if they're going to bite. Remember now, Vicky Whitelaw, the Aeonian rider, the bronze esport Olympic medalist. Whitelaw's got quite a kick, and here we go, Nathan.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Harper actually from Aeonian coming up over the top of Leonie. Harper, what a move from Harper here. Great to see the power from her. Is it going to be a whop on BL13? BL13, Cryo? It is, you're right, Penner all day long. Oh, what a sprint from Tiffany Penner coming right on through.
Well, that I'm going to call her the Winnipeg Jet. No doubt about it. That kid is pure gold. So Penner showing her worth already, as she's a new rider on that cryo team. What a great pickup for them. Where did Kerr end up in that one, Nathan? That was definitely a lot of work from Wahoo. And, well, we'll have a chance to review the points that were scored. Again, 20 points, 19 per second, all the way down to 1 point for the 20th rider across the line. That's what ZRL is all about, Nathan. It's a stacking points. And if you didn't start building your stack in that first sprint, you're already behind the 8-ball.
We'll see when we get the points in tallied up for the teams in just a moment. At the moment, we had zeros as we're waiting for them to come through. As soon as they come through, we will let you know. But it was definitely Penner all day long on that one. Now, they come fast and furious, don't they, Dave? One right after another.
So, yeah, and that's really the story, this rhythm of 4 different point scoring opportunities. The next one, FTS, and let's review that very quickly for all of our viewers, Nathan. This has changed, I think, the most dramatically, as it now only scores 5 deep, 10 for the first scorer, and that's fastest through segment. So this segment goes from 16.1K in to 16.4. So 300 meters of racing. Over those 300 meters, the fastest time gets 10 points. 8 points for the second quickest, 6 for third, and then on down to 2 points for the 5th and final rider to score. Nathan, that's really different than what we've had in seasons past.
See, a little bit of a move from the Watt Bombs, I think, here. Is that just getting back on terms? Or is this an actual move as they move forward? Because that's going to be trailing here, it looks like, coming through with some speed. Is that a little bit of a lead out? Or was she just getting back on terms is going to be the big question here as they head through this Stoneway section.
I think that was a good example of just kind of figuring out the dynamics of Zwift there, Nathan, as a rider who thought maybe, oh, I'm getting caught out the back, and then shooting all the way through and realizing I didn't need to burn that big of a match.
Actually, there is that kind of discrepancy, right? Being able to get the depth perception is absolutely huge, isn't it?
Sure is. I mean, these are the things that it's a steep learning curve. And then, Nathan, as you, I think, would attest to, you never really completely crack the code because they're always changing the safe on you, right? But you get to the point where you crack the code a lot quicker, and then, you really do start cooking with gas. But everybody now, so Nathan, this is going to be interesting to watch because the tactics for an FTS, that's fastest through segment, are so different than an FAL. So now, the game is almost like, I don't know if you played pool when you were a kid, but lagging the cue ball, right? Hitting it just hard enough. And that's what you need to do here, but kind of the opposite, where you want to give them just enough of a lead that you can chase into the group and then work through that group to get the fastest time. But if you give them a little too much, it backfires on you.
Well, here we go. Is this going to backfire? As we do see, it looks like
Well, look at the cryo rider there, Nathan.
Forward. Oh, my goodness. Yep. Look at the Watt Bomb.
So,
Anderson, huge gap. Now, this is a really long sprint, though. It's over 30 seconds. Is it going to work out? Because Penner's coming quick.
Well, Penner did it. What she did was started all the way at the back. This is just destroying this FTS from Tiffany Penner here. Now, it's not over. 300 meters is a long way, but she does it. I can tell you that just by watching. That was incredible. So what Penner did was exactly what I was saying. She went all the way to the very, very back of the group, and then she started her sprint at 300 meters out. This is an Alex coached athlete, as is Elise Gallegos. And you can see Alex has really a depth of understanding of how to work with esports athletes. Sure, Tiffany Penner is doing the work, but she must be getting some great advice to be sharpening her sword to such a fine point out here. So I'll have to wait for the points to confirm it, Nathan. I realize I'm getting out in front of my skis a little bit there, but I think that Penner should be right now perfect so far, bowling a 300 out here.
Yeah,
with
because FTS,
10,
FAL,
10 and 20.
You're thinking she's got all of it, is what you're.
Yeah, well, I think she won the FAL, and I think she
Yep.
just won the FTS.
Amazing. I mean, Gallegos was coming pretty quick, depending on where she was at, right? Like she was
Yeah,
a
but
little
Penna
ways
started
behind.
Gallegos.
Oh, she did, really. I
Yep.
didn't notice that. Wow. Okay.
Well, that's by my, again, we'll wait for the results to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what I saw as fantastic racing. Just absolutely brilliant out here.
Speaking of tactics, we do have a few minutes here before the next sprint, and Becca Niesen actually gave us some awesome tactics and interviews about her dsing with Team Coalition. She rides for Coalition. They raced about an hour ago or so, and she had some tips for everybody out there from a ladies racing's perspective. So what does the dsing role look like for you? Like, how do you prepare? It's a points race today. Is there something special that goes into all this for you?
This is probably the thing that I like most, even more than racing, is putting together a plan for a race. So this course is super interesting because it actually allows women to shine in different places. For women, it's usually, how can I make a difference? Where can I score points in these 4 intermediate segments? So I look at women's strengths and I say, where is their best opportunity to score points? And all 4 segments are relatively long, especially compared to the power up that they're getting. So with an aero helmet, you're not even going to get through half of the sprint. So I know who's going to go for each sprint. So who's going to do the lead out? Who's going to do the sprint? Where are they going to use their power up? And how are they going to try to break the field? So if you don't have any sprinters, for instance, the second one's FTS, the sprinters are going to exhaust themselves. How do you use the women that aren't sprinters best? You use them by pushing after that FTS segment when all the sprinters are gassed and they have to recover.
For those that don't know what dsing is, you want to give a quick little explanation of what that actually looks like?
So I'll fan view one of the women that I'm dsing, and then I'll swap between the women on the team. Hopefully, everybody will be together by the first segment, and so I'll be able to look at everybody at the same time. And if not, I can switch back and forth. It's not ideal, but we're all on a Discord call, so we're all encouraging each other. And I actually encourage women to leave their mics open, even though it leads to a lot of heavy breathing and sometimes animals in the background, sometimes husbands, same.
Any suggestions to anybody who might be new to a points race in ZRL?
M. Nyquist gave me the best piece of advice that I've had. I was joining the A races and I was never an A. She said, just pick one thing to be your thing, right? Whether it's a segment, whether it's a little hill, measure success in some small way, and then revel in your ability to meet that small goal, right? So like, I'm going to do a fake out and I'm going to try to break the field at 5 kilometers into the race. And then I'll be gassed and I'll fall off the back and I'll finish dead last. But I did what I said I was going to do and I met my small goal. And I thought that was brilliant.
Absolutely awesome to have you here, Becca. I really appreciate all the work you've been doing with the FCC, and good luck to Coalition.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on Zwift Live.
So great to hear from Becca again. And, Dave, it's interesting. The tactic there not being played out right in front of us right now as far as pushing through that FTS. I thought maybe there would be a little bit of something, but they're saving up right now for the next sprint, it looks like. The other thing, though, that I really, depending on what the riders' talents are, she talked about, though. And, perhaps a lot of these riders really believe that, look, my best chance is to save up for this next sprint. And that's why they're not employing that.
Yeah, and I would think that there's a good 10 women here that are saving something for the finale of this race. There's a lot of points at that line. So being competitive at the end, or at least keeping a couple of riders in the mix, is going to be critical for winning the day as a team. It's going to be another cryo RDT attack.
Yeah, it's going to be Harmsen actually on the move. Nice 5 watts per kilogram actually. Being covered a little bit by Synergies. Synergies got Doyle on the front. keeping the pace high, not really letting Harmsen get away now at this point. So I have a feeling that Synergy's still trying to set up their team for some points and not let anything get away. They definitely have an interest here to keep things together. The next one, I believe, is going to be, is it going to be Sasquatch? And then we've got Woodland after
Sasquatch.
that.
Yes, 16.1 is where the sprint starts, but it really doesn't make much difference because it's where it ends at 16.4. So Stoneway, Acropolis, Sasquatch, Woodland, it sounds like metro stops in the Seattle light rail, actually. Is everything back together now?
One other thing that was mentioned there was like aiming at goals out here. And, everybody's goals are going to be a little bit different. I really liked that little bit of a golden nugget coming from M. Nyquist that Becca had taken into her repertoire, taken into her quiver that she can shoot. It's a great little tip, isn't it, Dave, to make sure that you have certain goals and that you can meet those successes. Then you've accomplished your something on that day rather than feeling like there's, nothing that you could have actually done. She was talking about racing at an A race when she was actually a B and being able to actually accomplish something. That's the cool thing about WTRL racing, isn't it? That you as a team member can accomplish something amongst them almost no matter what if you set it up right and you organize it right with the team.
I'd agree, Nathan. That really is a gem of advice from M. Nyquist, the legend. I truly think that applies to everybody in everything you do. Have a reason, have an objective. Don't just wander around aimlessly like a lost soul. Figure out why you're here. Try to have an impact, even if it's not going to be winning the race. That was really well put by Becca. So here we go. Looks like this is a very motivated group starting to pick up some speed, Nathan. This is yet another sprint to be looking forward to. So again, a lot of points, 20 for the next rider over the line. And they look like they're locked in. Sprint mode engaged.
Yeah, this is going to be Leah Stern. Good to see her. 4.5 watts per kilogram. They're starting to fight. It looks like a little bit. When they're all across the road like this, but putting 4.5 watts per kilogram out, that they're fighting a little bit for position. It's definitely not a calm moment. Usually if somebody's at 5 watts per kilogram, there's going to be this long line of stretched out riders trying to find position. But if they're all pushing like that, but yet across the road, everyone's fighting. And here we go.
Nathan, the rider I'm watching for here, this could be a breakthrough moment for Jasmine Cornelius. I love that name. She's out of the United Kingdom. If you're a fan of Tintin, you would know Professor Cornelius. And here we go. Sprint engaged. We're locked and loaded, Nathan. This is going to be an absolute stunner. And is that going to be Cornelius coming over the top? Watch out for the Aeonian rider. They're digging deep right now.
Right to the line. It looks like it's actually going to be Cryo. Cryo takes it down at the front.
Machine, Tiffany Penner.
Non-stop action from Tiffany Penner, and she's just timing these so right. This is a setup, Dave, I think, for the reality of what we're going to see from her for the rest of this season. I mean, she is motivated. We saw her come on the scene last year. Last year was really her breakout year, the rookie of the year kind of a situation. And now, new team, I wouldn't say new Penner, upgraded Tiffany Penner now.
This is the result of betting on yourself, to tell you the truth. See what Tiffany did here as well? This is how good she is right now. She wins the sprint, takes the maximum amount of recovery that she can without letting a gap open. This is a very dialed in athlete right now. We're going to go back to the front though. Ava Synergy on the attack. This is Leah Sophie Rammert, the German here going big. Gallego seems to be the watchdog out here today. Very, very attentive on the front of the peloton, not letting anything get too out of control here. Rolling a perfect score, it becomes a better analogy as we keep watching the racing going, because Tiffany Penner now should be sitting on 50 points total, which is most likely more than half of the teams have out here.
Yeah, good call, actually. And with the domination, she's showing where she belongs at the top here. Rammert now trying to press on, it looks like, but being covered quickly. Cryo on the front saying, no, you're not going anywhere. We're here to hunt all of these points. It's going to be Dijkstra, the rider you had talked about earlier, Dave. And she seems to be one of these riders that's just keeping things under control for this Cryo RDT team.
Well, and you know how motivated you are when you have a teammate that delivers time and time again, right? So Leonie Dijkstra there, the Dutch rider, has every reason in the world to want to set pace and control this tempo here as they're going to be going into the final climb. Let's just talk about the overall race now, Nathan, because we're coming up on our final, the third FAL first across the line. So that's basically our sprint lines. We've already had our FTS. That's been put paid. Penner winning that one as well. But now after this sprint, this is a danger zone, I would say, is I think the riders that are going to start attacking, looking to get out in front of the vicious climbing that they've got. Over 250 meters of climbing on this course, and almost all of it happens really at the end here.
I'm liking this move from Gallegos. I like how she kind of got off the front there and the fog made the pack disappear, so it looked like she was alone for a moment. Kerr now looking to come across. Aeonian there too. Vicky Whitelaw. Okay, this is an interesting situation. You put Kerr, Whitelaw, Gallegos together off the front. That's a dangerous thing. And there's riders struggling, I think, back there, Dave, a little bit. Toward the back of that pack that may split. We're seeing some fire socks back there as well, which means there's big kicks. Cryo covers it, though.
Look at this.
They want to stick it together. They really do. They do not want Wahoo to get away.
Boy, this is going to be some real finessing of tactics here at the front, because I think Cryo believes in this and Wahoo as well. If those two teams want to combine, this could be the ship leaving the port. Boy, Nathan, they're not quite breaking this group. It looks like around 7 riders are struggling at the back now. So we'll see if the impact is going to be more at the front or the back of this peloton. It is wide open right now. This is where positioning is critical. Look how great of a job Cryo has done here.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, actually. Hoekstra now coming on through. And the reality is Cryo just keeps on shutting everything down, putting all their chips, betting on Penner to take those points down, I think is what is happening here. And they're doing a great job of keeping her fresh. Have you noticed that Penner hasn't had to do any of the work? Like, we don't see her anywhere near the front at all. They're putting all those chips right where they should be. They're betting on her sprint. And then I wouldn't be surprised if later on, I don't know, Penner may have a good climb on her. We've seen her at the top level. She can play almost every part of this game as best as anybody else. Will there be any kind of chink in the armor of Cryo, though, today is going to be the question.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be incredible. They have the Lithuanian rider on this team as well, Nathan, that they've been sort of keeping in reserve. That's Ursula, Katrin Nilsson on this squad. They have depth and they've got high-end talent. So, yeah, they're covering all of their bases right now. The way to beat them is just going to be this nonstop attacking that we're witnessing. We're coming up on our final sprint here. So some more big points are going to be waiting here. You really want to reinforce. This is another rider that we've been watching, the Irish woman, Baines, up on the front. An impressive race to this point.
Synergy's just taking over at the front now, and I agree with you, Dave. This is extremely impressive, the way that they've just, there's been a lot of tactics playing out, and, you know, it's been a lot about Penner here, but they've just outsmarted them by that extra 1% is what it's been, because it's not like there's been no tactics from these other teams playing out their game. Just the chess match has just slightly been won over and over again by Cryo.
Yeah, and so just remembering that this is the ZRL, this is a points race. So a lot of points have been distributed already when you look at it. We've seen the 2 FALs, the FTS. This final FAL leads us into what's going to be the grand finale of this race out here on Sugar Cookie today. One big lap. When I was looking at the course, Nathan, it reminded me of what Lachlan Morton is doing right now, riding around Australia. This is riding around Watopia is what we've got the ladies doing. Wahoo back to the front right now. But I think everybody is just really keeping each other honest.
This is an interesting one. Aeonian with the consistency, though, Dave. Penner may be taking down tons of points, but Aeonian has been extremely consistent. And that's kind of the name of the game, isn't it, Dave, with them? Right? Like, in the past, how many times have we said that Aeonian are some of the most consistent that are out there? Now, these are only, okay, I'm just getting information from
sprint
our
coming up. Yeah,
production.
I just want
here we go.
200 meters from the sprint. Kerr up on the front, maybe not quite where you want to be. Aeonian, Nathan, I think they might be taking your cue.
Yeah, we'll see what they can make happen, but it looks like Penner, again, perfectly timed arrow power up across the line. She's got the kick, it looks like. Is somebody going to come over the top, though? It looks like right to the line. Maybe. No, not going to be able to do it. It's going to be Cryo 1-2. Aeonian for third. Oh, over the top, though. Is that going to be Wahoo countering? Is that the counter there, Dave?
Well, or at least no, it isn't. And I'm surprised. I thought Wahoo might want to punch Tiffany Penner's ticket there because she goes absolutely perfect, scoring maximum bonification. I don't know that anybody else in the ZRL of the thousands, tens of thousands of riders that are going to be competing around the globe today, Nathan, I doubt anybody else pulls off what Penner did. All different categories. I'll have to take a look at that as incredible riding, but guess what? It's far from over. We've got a lot of racing ahead of us now. 17.3K of racing, but now we're going to find out who's got the depth on their team. These points waiting at the finish line are going to be really how we sort this one out here now, Nathan. Moving into the second act of this play.
Yeah, just looking at the back here real quick to see who might be suffering a tad. It's going to be Whitelaw to the front. Vicky Whitelaw, time trial specialist, that's for sure. The Aeonian rider here now trying to take over. And the domination of Aeonian, I think, that is not a given any longer. It used to be a given amongst us. How many years have we done, seen in seasons of ZRL, Dave, where we've said, look, if Aeonian are in it, they're the shoe-in favorite over and over and over again. And I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from these other teams, that they're here to challenge that and take down Aeonian across this division.
The distribution of talent amongst the teams, Nathan, as we go by the shipwreck here, has been really the key to the excitement I think that we're seeing in ZRL right now. As you're absolutely right. When you have one or two dominant teams that week in, week out are winning and stacking the top 10, the excitement factor kicks back a little bit, but not here. This one is wide open. Certainly there's, 5 teams out here that legitimately have a chance to still win this bike race out here today. This is the second of 6 races that make up this ZRL season. And this one is going to be spicier than anything we've seen so far. So this is what I'm talking about now. Cryo RDT, they do have top points. Only 6 ahead, though, of Aeonian, as you were talking about. And then there is a bit of a gap back to the BL13 Thundercats on 101. They're only 2 points ahead of Wahoo Esports Vitesse. And then Roca Corba, that's the collective A team, at 57 points. So those are the 5 that I'm really talking about. Roca Corba is going to need a bit of a miracle to be able to overcome Cryo or Aeonian. But in the ZRL, you got to believe they're stringing this one out, though, Nathan. This is really going to change now. Rather than backing off as they had been with that rhythm of sprint, rinse, wash, repeat, now it's pretty much just who's got the goods.
Yeah, and as the riders now start to ramp things up, it looks like here.
The first selection.
Yeah, I think that they're looking forward toward that Titans Grove climb in just a moment. And as they do, the push before the climb is usually the one that can put people out the back. When a climb's a little bit shorter, if you don't press the pace like this, it can be a little bit more difficult to really snap the elastic. Because the truth is anybody can do what the expected time is a lot of times, right? That expected kick that's coming, you're prepared for it. But if you come into that climb at maximum or almost maximum, and then they press the pace, well, do you have the ability to push that pace prior and go up over the top? That's the big question. A lot of times people will reserve in anticipation, but that anticipation reservation is not always the best tactic to make things split if you want them to split. If you're just looking to hang on, do all the anticipation that you need to, right? But if you're looking to split things, sometimes it's a roll in with some help. And a lot of times you'll see teammates press that pace for you while you sit in second, third wheel and get delivered real well.
I think we witnessed exactly what you're talking about there as well, Nathan, where the teams realized, look, we're pounding our head with a quality field like this. And you could see how that little split opened up in the second group, came right back up into the first group. And I think that was the moment that everybody here in this A race realized that the level is incredibly high. You can't go burning matches left, right, and center if you want to win this bike race. You've got to be very, very, I would even say conservative at this point. And that's exactly what we're looking at. A smart, savvy group that's bracing themselves for all hell to break loose out here.
As far as the climbers go, Dave, that's going to be my big question now. Elise Gallego has the best.
Go back to Jen Lemon, Nathan. That's a
Lemon?
woman. I'd like to see if she's in this group still to confirm that, but she's someone that historically is going to be one of the better climbers that we've got in this field. That's the PDQ Wattbomb rider who hasn't been on a team that's been tallying many points here, but she certainly would have an opportunity. Even if your team's not on a great day, it still feels really good to win a ZRL race of this quality.
It definitely does. It's a very high quality field here. 4.6, 4.7, 4.4, 4.3. Everyone in the top 10 of their FTPs are 4.3 to 4.7 ish. Gallegos with the best that we have out here. It's going to be Luis Gamps, Kimberly Hoekstra, Maria Tomberly for the ABA Synergy Esports, Vicky Whitelaw right there as well, Marina Arce. But the big question here is going to be the finish line. They're going to have next up is the Titans Grove split off climb. It's not the actual whole Titans Grove climb, but it is a split off over toward the Watopia Mountain. We take a little bit of a roundabout here and a left up into the trees that you can see off in the distance, and then they're going to descend over toward the bottom of the Watopia Mountain climb, but they're not going all the way up. They're just going to the cliffside cutoff and a right-hand turn.
Luis Gamst, Nathan, is a rider that has so much experience, so savvy. BL13 is a team still in the mix here as well. They've got Jenna Borillo, the South African, on that squad. Let's see what they can do here in the finale.
I like it. BL13, they put together that women's team last year, and they've had a lot of success so far. What is this Roca Corva?
Yeah, that's the Swiss rider.
What is going on out of nowhere? Massive chase back. Love to see. And she just goes right through him. That's the way you do it, right, Dave? If you can make the catch, you just keep on rolling.
Well, absolutely. And it's almost like that sparked a fire here, because it's Lara Meyer now going clear, and she's putting some watts down. So this is not a test attack. Lara Meyer going big right now. Let's see what, okay, Nathan, here we go at 13.2K to go. The road pitches up just a little bit, and these women can't hold back. It is on.
Yeah, Laura Meyer here now, the French rider with the verified badge. She's a ZWS rider, that's for sure. And we can see on the chase right behind, who's that going to be from Crowd? It's going to be Harmsen actually trying to chase this down. And this may be more about, I don't know if this is going to be about going across and getting away, or if just trying to control things. Harmsen really doing everything she can. 167 beats per minute here currently at the moment. Doyle from Synergy there also sitting on, making sure that it doesn't get too far away, with Baines right behind her, her teammate. It's going to be Kasani as well, Cryo RDT. Now, Cryo, 3 at the front, but nobody really risking too much off the front, it looks like here. They're kind of letting Loyola get a little bit of distance here, Dave. This is starting to get dangerous, in my opinion.
Well, and it certainly is what BL13 is looking for, is this benefits her teammates sitting back in that group, is somebody's going to have to start chasing this back. This is going to be fun. Catherine, we talked about the Swedish Paralympic pilot. Good to see her right up in the mix here. Definitely bringing some good form into race 2 of this ZRL season. But this is the French one on the front, Lara Meyer, opening up almost a 6-second gap now.
Yeah, it's getting out there. And Dave, on this downhill, if the pack doesn't work on this downhill at all, they slow way down, actually. The comparison of speed is pretty big if you don't work to try and get the free speed on this downhill. And I can see that Crush Pod maybe is starting to get a little bit worried here toward the front of this, as this is going to be, it looks like McQueen only at 2.4 watts per kilogram. So that's actually just a roll through, pretty chill. Meyer all in, the breakaway queen here now at this point. She may be able to make this happen consistently. 4.7 watts per kilogram. They're bringing it out to 7 seconds now. 2.0 on the front, not working too well against her.
Yeah, Nathan, and I mean, that's a great point that you just made, because they would have brought back a couple of seconds if they'd all been throwing down, as far as from the peloton's perspective. But Lara Meyer is just, taking these small opportunities and stacking them up on top of each other to open up a gap now that's gone to 8.5 seconds at this point. So she presses on. It's not like the power she's making is insane at this point, hovering right around just under 5 watts per kilo here. So she can settle into her rhythm. I'm not surprised, to tell you the truth. I think the peloton back there still realizes there's plenty of power available to make this chase. But Laura Meyer taking advantage of finding a little seam.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Gallegos and Penner and some of these climbers that are about to start to throw down that FTP we were talking about. Their goal at this point is to go across. They trust that 10 seconds is going to come back when they go, and that's going to be right about now. Now, it's going to be a good kick in the face here for a little bit, 9-10% or so. They're going to go up to the bridge, and then it'll level off a little bit, and it's another little kick to 5, and then a right-hand turn. They're bringing her back pretty quickly here, I think.
Yeah, and I think this is just, the force of nature that is this strong peloton here. The gradient is at 7% right now, and I think that this is just going to be sheer will in the peloton. Riders are going to start getting dropped as only the strong survive at this point. And here we go as Gallegos and company, Vicky Whitelaw, talking about the bronze medal eSport Olympian here, moving up to the front. She's out of Australia. And yeah, this is not only going to split the group, this is the bike race right here, right now.
Yeah, and Whitelaw here trying to make things happen for Aeonian because they got to bring some points back. Priority versus Aeonian. Look at the speed differentiation as they come through right by Meyer. She fades the 3.2 watts per kilogram, looking to grab a wheel, but Whitelaw kicks 10% gradient, 5.8 watts per kilogram. She knows this is the moment, but here comes Barbara Frisch.
Wow, this is going to be interesting. It looks like we're going to square this off, Nathan, between Aeonian and Cryo RDT at this point because Ursilia is making her way up. There's Tiffany Penner once again sitting in the top 5. Marina Odyssey, she's on the Aeonian squad and she's in the mix. Oh boy, Nathan, look at what Aeonian has done. Stacking this, well, I was going to say stacking the front group, but it is welding back together. There's about 20 riders that I would say, oh boy, but you can extend that back a little bit. But here's another surge coming from Allison Kerr right now in her Scotty the Squirrel hat. That's got to give her a couple watts off as she take a look at the feathers being thrown down. Kerr, Tennille Otto, the South African, is up there. We haven't called her name much, and she's a world-class rider.
Yeah, look at the split now. This is going to be the settling in moment here. Whether or not you've made this group is going to be everything. And you can see these two riders just off the back looking for that draft because it's 3% for just a little while here. So you can get just enough to recover slightly if you've got some fumes in the tank. But it's going to be Otto on the front for Wahoo now, pressing the pace. Harper just getting back involved. So what do we got for teams now at this point?
Yeah, well, Nathan, when you talk about the ZRL and team points, that Leonie Harper getting back into this group and keeping herself in contention for the top points, that might be the difference maker right there. These points are going to be critical. It's not necessarily the women who wins the race or top 5. It's going to be every woman in this group. Well, every woman in this race, the points matter, that's for sure. But that was critical because by being in this group, as the train leaves the station, she's on board, and that's huge. I did want to mention, Nathan, there is a points bonus. This is something new this year as well. The podium, top 5, so they do a wide angle podium there, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. So not only if you said there were, I don't know how many starters we had actually, but let's just call it 60. That would mean you'd get the 60 points for the win and 10 points to give you a 70-point total at the finish line there. The second place rider would get 59 points plus 8. And you can work on down that table. But something new with bonus points for the podium.
Penner here, just following the wheels perfectly, Dave, setting herself up where she needs to be. Tennille Otto threw down hard there. That was luck. That was insane effort to try and split that group, and they almost did it, but then nobody worked with her up and over the top. They said enough was enough, and then she went backwards here at this point. Now Stern, though, is the next one to press the pace. As you can see, her press up to 4.5 watts per kilogram. Vicky Whitelaw following quickly. Cryo there with the cover.
So really, Nathan, taking inventory in this front group, my question is how many cryo riders are here? Because the math is critical. You could see an incredible scenario here where Tiffany Penner wins every bonification possible. So far, she has won at Stoneway. She took points at the FTS at Acropolis. She won at Sasquatch. She won at Woodland. If she wins this race and takes the 10 points, the bonus for the podium winner, well, they still might not win this race, Nathan. Aeonian has enough riders in this front group that it is possible that Tiffany could win every single bonus and the race, and her team still would fall just shy of Aeonian today. That's something shows you really how complex this is.
Really does. What a team game that this is, and that's what makes WTRL, ZRL so incredibly engaging, is that it's all about the teamwork. Now Penner here up and over the top, Cryo with only 2 riders in this main group now at this point. Is anybody behind, Dave, that they may want to be waiting for to get a better spot in the sprint is going to be a question in Cryo's heads, because there definitely is a chase group here making a good effort. It's in Aeonian's favor to go, or is there also riders behind that they could want here? Leonie Harper's there, it looks like. So there's dragging up 2 and only 1 cryo rider. So with only 1 cryo rider, that rider needs to jump across and not bring Aeonian if they want some better points.
Well, now you're really talking about tactics and why ZRL and esports are so much fun, because everybody needs to understand, be situationally aware in that front group. And there's times where, well, so Tiffany Penner going to the front, and it looks like Cryo just wants to keep, maybe they're more worried about Aeonian bringing some riders in the back door here.
Yeah, 4 riders now for Aeonian. I'm seeing
Wahoo
Wahoo with 4.
Yeah. Really interesting here. As I would have to say, Nathan, Wahoo is the team. 1, 2, 3, 4 riders in this group. Their Aeonian has 5. So for Aeonian, this is the perfect situation.
Taking a look real quickly at the current points tally, just to get an idea of where things stand as we head into it. Cryo is in the lead, but they do not have the numbers here to challenge necessarily. Do they? They have 3. Okay, they have 3.
No, but it's not enough.
Go...
If you, but well, we'll have to. If the points gap is less than 20 from Cryo to Aeonian, Aeonian is almost assuring themselves of the team win here today.
Yeah, with that extra body. It's going to be interesting to see.
Actually, isn't it extra 2 bodies?
Is it 2?
Or is it just...
I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4. You're right. And that's been their thing.
That's what I'm saying.
They just have such a high level, such a high level across the entirety of the team that they can always just make sure they solidify themselves. And we've seen this time and again. They're like, they're this onslaught of just talent across the board, which just puts them in this top spot so often.
And I would even say, Nathan, you'd have to be a little bit better at math than I am. But even if, with the bonification included here, that Cryo RDT goes 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with 5 riders in a relatively small group, I mean, there's going to be a lot of points distributed at 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th place in this group that'll be difference makers.
Dave, this is the story. Can Nielsen get back? I mean, this is it. That's the next rider they need. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, but if Nielsen, the Paralympian, the pilot, can get back and Shang-Chi do it and hang on, will they press the pace? I love it. All of a sudden, there's this pink Tron off in the distance. The story is amazing here.
This is going to go down as one of the best examples of what ZRL racing is all about. This is the Swedish pilot that was just in Paris at the Paralympic Games, taking a 6th place that is chased back. You want to talk about a woman that is all heart. That is Katrin Nielsen, and she has rejoined the group. Now, she hasn't completely leveled the playing field for Toyota Cryo, but with Penner factored in, and now Nielsen is back, and Wahoo on the attack. It's just body blow after body blow after body blow being thrown out here, and the South African is going big. Can Wahoo Lacole pull a rabbit out of the hat? This is what ZRL's all about, Nathan. We're down to 6.2K to go. Wow, fantastic. And Penner now is closing this gap down.
Otto saw the moment that Katrine got in right into the uphill. It's the last real uphill that they have. She challenges now, kicks. It's going to be Barbara Frisch. It's going to be Penner covering it. Gallego sitting in, waiting for her moment. Harper now off the back a little bit. Where is Katrine? Can she hang on to these attacks after making that valiant effort back to the front? Here comes Stern now, the Swiss rider.
Well, and Nathan, you have to remember, as you were saying, she just made a huge effort bearing herself to rejoin this group. And it really was like showing up at a high school party right before the police get there, because all heck breaks loose now. But these are the riders that are going to be making the race here, as Leah Stern, the Swiss rider, has been really, really impressive. Vicky Whitelove, of course, Vicky is up there, one of the all-time, the perennial greats of esport racing. And then on the other side of that coin, Tiffany Penner, you called her the Rookie of the Year last year. That's 100% my vote, Nathan, as the Canadian just canucking up out here today. So this is going to be really fun to watch. Can she have the perfect race individually? And will it be enough with Katrin Nilsson rejoining there for that Cryo RDT team? Lot of action, not only at the front of the group, but at the back of the group where everything matters here as well. This is exactly when they were scheming up the ZRL, Nathan, what they were looking for. Everybody matters out here. As a matter of fact, it's close enough that there are riders not even in this front group where their points might ultimately move their team up onto the top of the table. Or, conversely, there's always the other side of that coin.
Look at that heart rate, Dave. That was 185 beats per minute to claw her way back to this group. And it was right there. It was touch and go. If somebody pressed the pace at the front, that wasn't going to happen, I don't think. That was so close. You could see it in the heart rate, maxed out, not moving another beat.
So
it's back into the group. There's one more little kick they do have. It's not long. It's just a quick little 10 to 15 second or so through the dirt. That might be a section. A lot of people like to go right there if they don't want to sprint and they think they've got a good couple K to go. You can do 3K to the line downhill. Heavier rider maybe that might be able to make a move. Big wall rots. I don't know.
It's interesting, Nathan, because it's rare that we talk about 1 minute power, but that's really where this race is going to be won or lost. By the time you're into the finale here, that last minute of this race is going to be so incredibly dynamic. And you got to remember that these women have already been through the grinder at this point. I mean, these legs have been completely tenderized, and now the racing really begins.
I haven't raced a points race in ZRL for quite a while, and I think my mind forgot how difficult this is. And I'm like, oh, I'm racing tonight, and I'm now kind of like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm used to this. I remember what it's like. And I'm looking at this race going, wait a second. I don't know if I've seen a ZRL like this in a while. 4 sprints, then these climbs and a battle through the dirt. These ladies are showing up today and throwing down, and they are definitely giving us one of the best races we've seen in quite a while.
Well, and Nathan, how many times have we said racers make the race through the years? But when you give the racers a stage like the Greek Theater or Red Rocks, the show is just a little bit better. And that's exactly what we've got. It's a world-class field on a world-class course out here today. So this is what it's all about. I can't wait to see what Wahoo's got up their sleeves. I mean, Elise Gallegos certainly has to be in your top 3 to just win the race outright today, at least in my mind. But Tiffany Penner, you want to talk about punching above your weight. Well, this is a command performance from Penner. I mean, even if she jumped off her bike right now, I would be in awe, and we're not done. Tiffany Penner looking to put together the perfect ZRL ride.
Gallegos here still. This is a serious drive from Gallegos on the dirt. This is no joke move here at this point. Penner's holding that wheel specifically because she knows Gallegos is on the move at 7 watts. Because this is that kick I was talking about, 6.3. We could get a few off the front here now at this point with Gallegos. It looks like Cryo DT right on the wheel. It also looks like Penner sitting in. It's not maybe quite enough distance, but she does continue on. Still up into 4.3 watts per kilometer. It's stretched out here, Dave. Will there be a counterattack in the downhill?
Yeah, well, Elise Gallegos is certainly one of the really good people on Zwift, and that's one of the things I love about esports is good people can still win out here, but this is going to require going deep, deep into the pain cave to pull it off. As Vicky Whitelaw is up here, we've got an 8-rider split, and, well, maybe it's going to come back together, but the dynamic right now, it does. More riders are going to fight through. Hoekstra, the Dutch rider on the front. Penner is just always there. Elise Gallegos, omnipresent as well. Here comes Miriam Bullock, Nathan, the rider out of the United Kingdom, tucked right onto the front for Aeonian. I think Aeonian is realizing we don't want anybody else joining this group. Maybe they kept their powder dry for finale. As here's Aileen Heerwijk that we're looking at. Heerwijk, Nathan, the Belgian rider.
Penner just continuing to set herself up perfectly, and they do see that they're causing some suffering, I think, at the back. That's going to be Doyle and Dirkstra, I think, that are off the back, interesting enough. Barbara Frisch here sitting second wheel. Now, Tiffany Penner, I think, she is just keeping her powder as dry as possible. She follows the right move, but you never see her off the front, and I think she has the confidence in her sprint is what that's all about.
Unfortunately, Nathan, I think that they've lost one of the Toyota Cryo riders here, which is a major. That's really the story. As Aeonian, it goes back into the advantage Aeonian at this point.
There it is. Yeah, Harmsen off the back here. I think she fell back, perhaps. Is that what we're talking about? Because Harmsen's the next one on course. Yeah. So I have a feeling that may have changed things up. But Nielsen is still here, I think. I'm seeing four.
They gained one, but they lost one in the last 3K.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, here goes Penner. Is this an actual move from her?
Yes. 1.6K to go. I think that she's really feeling it right now. She's at least going to lead from the front. The tête de la course, as the great Eddie Merckx would say. You win races at the front, not at the back. And I think Tiffany Penner's going to take Elise Gallegos. And here we go. Katrin Nilsson. Boy, what a battle back for Nilsson here, as the Wahoo rider Gallegos is going to show us what she's all about. This is a tremendous talent. I truly think one of the great stories. Another one of our moms, mom of two, down there in Texas. And certainly, I think she's feeling a little bit of redemption would be nice right now for Elise Gallegos. A big win would feel great. Tiffany Penner ready to go just toe-to-toe. And then that's going to be Kasani coming through.
Still 980 meters here. 1K to go. 1K to go. Here comes Meyer. I love it. After almost getting dropped. Oh my gosh. She was the one that made the move into Titans Grove, and she's looking at him going, are they going to sleep?
Well, and Penner said, not on my watch, not in my house, as she wants the whole sugar cookie. And Penner now has responded. We're down to 700 meters to go, and Penner is going to get up on this wheel. I think she's going to try to get a little bit of a satellite move here. Maybe sit on this wheel for a second.
I think they're gone, Dave. I don't know. Oh, they're sitting, though. They're sitting. It might not work now because they're sitting. She's got to go soon.
Penner's got another attack. Penner's got another go here. I think she might have been trying to use that rider to her advantage for a bit of a two-stage attack, like a rocket booster here, as I do think Penner is, well, no, they're going to close it down. 350 meters to go, Nathan. We got a whole new bike races. It's Gallegos back to the front. Here comes Elise.
Oh, but Penner grabs the wheel now again. Does she have the energy again to go? Is it going to be too much that she threw down trying to close the gap? Here comes Tiffany Penner with the kick. Big kick from Penner up into 10, 15 watts per kilogram. Huge kick, but no. Who's over the top? That's going to be Wahoo Lacole. Otto with a massive kick waiting for this moment. Aeonian now, but Arce, but no, it's Otto. Otto takes it down.
Congratulations. Well-earned outright victory for the South African, Tennille Otto. But Nathan, I think Aeonian is going to take the team win. That's my estimation here. We'll wait for our official results to populate. But Aeonian looked like they stacked 3 in the top 7 to me, which with the dynamic of them having 5 in this front group, that should be good to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a good call there with the way that played out. We still have a few riders here finishing up as we go back a little bit, but Aeonian, they just know how to stack the field, don't they, with talent, Dave?
Well, and Nathan, it's the field of play, right? It's the ZRL has always been a team points-based league. This is the perfect example of that. We started with the team time trial, which is so straight ahead. This is all over the shop. Left, right, and center points to be earned. We take all 6 riders, tally their points together, and Aeonian understands that's what this is all about. And, I mean, they put their whole team basically up into the first selection.
We just saw a few more cryo DT finishing, and all these points matter, though, Dave, don't they? Look at these kicks here at the end. Every single one of them matter to the team, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to get as much as they possibly can out of this race for their team. As Roka Cobra kicks with Eggers, it's also going to be Imlach there toward the front. We saw her with a late surge to get back involved with that lead group, but Roka's going to take the first 2 out of this little bunch sprint. Nicely done by them. As we're waiting up for some of our results to come in, we'll just finish up. Northrup here, Dave, from Roka Corba as well. We saw early attack. She was the first one to go on the downhill, wasn't she?
Yeah, and she took the advice from our interview earlier about having an impact in the event, even if she knew she wasn't going to be in that final selection today. She played her role very well. Good job, Casey.
Yeah, great to see from Casey. Now we do have a few replays. We'll check this out here quickly, and then we'll take a look at some replays. And as the results come on in, we'll get an idea. But we can't show you the results till they finish up for a lot of these points. We'll get you the first across the line results, at least though for the finish line. We can give you those for sure. Points results be a little bit longer here. Deeth, it looks like Roca with a lot here. It's going to be Crush Pod, though, going to make the first move. Is Strasser even going to be caught? We've always known Strasser to be one of the best sprinters, for sure, in the world of Zwift racing. Sargent, though, and Northrop going to have to settle for the lesser placings in this little sprint. Deeth here now across the line.
So we take the number of total racers, and the winner receives those points. So if there were 60 in the field, as I was saying earlier, 60 points plus the bonus 10, 59 per second plus the bonus 8. Bonus only goes 5 deep, however, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. And then these riders, you work your way in a linear order down. So everybody has points available. Looks like we're going to go back and pick up the action pretty early in the race. This was Tiffany Penner's first sprint win of the day. This is our FAL back at Stoneway.
Yeah, first sprint that we saw, Penner with the perfect setup, just ahead of the BO13 rider there, it looked like. Aeonian, though, look at how many Aeonian there are there, though, Dave. We don't have the points totals just as of yet. We should get them in a little bit here, but you're starting to see this theme. Penner's taking it down over and over again, but Aeonian stacking that front end, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's the name of the game, is that you can see that Aeonian has 3 riders sitting up there in the top 6, where it's Penner for Toyota Cryo, and then you have to go back outside of the top 8 to find any other Cryo riders scoring points. So even though they're getting maximum bonus there, it's not scoring deep enough for them at this point to be building up a big enough lead that they can afford to being outnumbered later in the race. But let's go back and take a look at our FTS now. This is the fastest through segment where the points are awarded, much like our bonus points, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2.
Nice little kick here coming in, and it's going to be Cryo again with some solid results. Aeonian not quite as involved at the front as we saw with that first sprint, but still riders all over the front. Cryo had such a good day today. Now this is that final sprint. Penner was caught with about 500 meters, maybe a little less to go to the line. Up and over the top, Tenille Otto, she did everything right today, didn't she, Dave? I'm really actually impressed by Otto coming into this season so well.
Well, and also, betting on herself in that finale, Nathan. Tenille's done the work and showed a lot of poise and confidence to be able to weather that barrage that we saw from Gallegos and Penner.
Yeah, amazing job.
And then look at Aeonian. I mean,
all over it, right?
That's pretty omnipresent, to tell you the truth. That's how if you're going to say, Nathan, who is the number 1 esports team of all time, for me, Aeonian is in that conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I'd have to say that they are definitely in that conversation of an all-time greatest for sure.
There have been some Wahoo LaColle teams that you could look at, or Next, presented by Insured. I'm not saying that they are the apex predator in that conversation, but they're certainly a part of it. They should be really proud of that.
Now we can show you the top 10 for the results across the line today. As
Heino, Nathan. That's
another one to think. Heino definitely is another one, I would say. And a lot of the riders actually that we're talking about here are coming from that team.
Vicky Whitelaw,
actually, aren't
right?
They're actually coming from, a lot of the riders that we're talking about here are from that exact team.
Times change, and these teams are, constantly evolving out here. So let's take a look at Tenille Otto over the line first out here today with Marina Arce, the Argentinian, so close for second. Vicky Whitelaw in third. Leonie Harper fourth. Leah Stern in fifth. Penner sixth. Barbara Fish in seventh. Rusulia Kasani in eighth. Kimberly Hoekstra in ninth, and then Lara Meyer. Very impressive today. We'll hear more from Lara Meyer of BL13. She finds the top 10.
That's a big result, I think, for Meyer amongst this crew. I mean, this is a serious crew. And we saw when we were lining up for this one, it's a no joke to get a result amongst them. This is the points tally that we get at the end, though, Dave.
All right, and there you have it. Aeonian living up to it. If you're going to be world number one team, you're going to need to win some races every now and then. They deliver out here. You can see that Toyota Cryo put up quite a battle. That's for sure. It was only 20 points separating first and second out here today. And a great job to Tiffany Penner. Her name came up a lot. And that was well-deserved. Wahoo Esports Vitesse in third. So the points don't really matter, do they, Nathan, once we sort this all out? Because we move to another table now where Aeonian Aces will take the top points, and then 1 point down will be Toyota Cryo, then Wahoo, then BL13 Thundercats in for fourth today. Synergy Shred for fifth, Crush Pod Norns in sixth, then Roca Corba Collective A in seventh. But every team in this race should be proud of the way they represented esports today. This will go down, Nathan, when you look at it, is almost a perfect esports race. It was exciting from start to finish.
Yeah, the ladies put on an amazing race. And if you want to get involved actually in the ZRL, you still can. You can find a team and jump into next week's scratch race. You can join a team anytime, all season. Head over to wtrail.racing. Look through the results. If there's a team that you're interested in, you can find out ways to contact them. You can also search them up over on zwiftpower.com. A lot of times there's contact information about teams on zwiftpower.com in their little about section on their team page. So if you are looking to get involved, still time to do so. Next week, September 24th, scratch race on Country Coastal. Also coming up this week, we've got your monthly racing monument. Experience the thrill of racing on a global stage with the Zwift World Series. You can tune in Thursday for all the action. It's going to be men 1715 UTC and women 1850 UTC racing Thursday. Race number one, the elite race. Is a lot of status on the line amongst the who is who in the world of elite Zwift racing, and there's some pretty awesome cash prizes actually that these ladies can get, Dave. So awesome on Thursday, and next week we'll be back for some more ZRL, won't we?
Yeah, and that's a great course too. It really is going to be fantastic on Thursday.
Yeah, that's that new Richmond loop around. We were taking a look at it last night. I've raced it actually in the community races, and be on the watch out actually for these monument races. The ZWS community series is really cool, and you can check out those courses as well. So be on the watch out for those. But then, Thursday, some of the best we'll get to watch, and then we will be back at you next week for race number 3 for the ZRL. But for Dave and I, we really appreciate all of you hanging out. We've been watching the chat. It looks like you guys all really enjoyed it. The racing today. We'll be back and see you next week. Race number 3, scratch race, Country Coastal. Thanks everybody for tuning in from us. As always, ride on.